Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Maulana Muhammad wa barik wa sallam wa salli alayhi. Friends, Assalamu alaikum. Today I want to discuss a controversial piece of news that is circulating around social media, and that is the announcement by the Saudi government, one of their ministries, that Jama'at Tabligh, their activities have been proscribed in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They are no longer welcome to um, carry out their religious activities, their proselytism, their evangelism in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I want to make a disclaimer that I am not a member of Jama'at Tabligh. I have previously participated in their activities. As you know, they are a proselytizing group. They go around parts of the world and they invite Muslims in the mosque to join them in their preaching activity and to spend time in their company. So I think a lot of Muslims have at one point or another in their life um, done so, have participated in Jamaat Tabligh. But what I'm trying to say is that I've never been a regular member of the group. I've never been consistent in my activity in the group. I therefore do not consider myself a so-called Tablighi. However, I appreciate Tablighi Jamaat. I appreciate what they do, and I think what they do is, by and large, it is good for the Ummah. They are trying to get people to revive their faith, to reform themselves spiritually and morally, and to become better Muslims, to become servants of Allah, and to carry out the work of Da'wah and Tabligh, which is definitely an essential part of being a Muslim. There's no doubt about it. I do have differences with them, and I've made a video previously a couple of days ago called Tablighi Jamaat, the pros and the cons. So among the negative points or among my criticisms of Jamaat Tabligh is the fact that this is a group that is, has a lot of wrong beliefs and wrong ideas in terms of theology, and they are not. They try to. They are very sectarian in their mindset. They try to keep people away from other Islamic activities, from the ulama, from seeking knowledge of Islam. They say, just leave all that and just to devote your entire life to activity in Jamaat Tabligh, which is not a good thing to take that kind of a path. And so I have criticized Jamaat Tabligh, but overall, I think it's a good it's a force for good in the Muslim Ummah. So now that the Saudi government has banned Jamaat Tabligh, I believe what is the motivation for the Saudi government to do so? They have mentioned in that controversial tweet that one of the reasons, or perhaps the main reason, that they are against Jamaat Tabligh is because they say that it is a terrorist group, that many of its members are end up becoming terrorists once you go through Jamaat Tabligh as a sort of a gateway to terrorism. And this is totally, totally false. Jamaat Tabligh, I know them very intimately. They are totally apolitical. They are totally nonviolent. They do not promote terrorism. They do not radicalize Muslims. This is totally wrong. And anyone who has spent even a little bit of time or gotten to know Tablighi Jamaat, they know this. They know that this is a purely religious group organization, and that they are very much peaceful. They're very peaceful. They're very nonviolent, and they are apolitical, totally apolitical. That means totally non-political. And so this is a slander against Jamaat al-Tabligh. Now, if it is true that some people who ended up becoming terrorists, they were previously associated with Jamaat al-Tabligh, there's a number of reasons for that. Number one, as I said, virtually every Muslim has at one point or another in his life been involved with Jamaat al-Tabligh, just because of the nature of the group, that they are a very large group and they preach everywhere, and they are perhaps the largest Islamic organization on the planet. There's no doubt about that. So if somebody has previously been in Jamaat al-Tabligh and then later left it and joined some terrorist group, it does not mean that Jamaat al-Tabligh was the reason for them becoming a terrorist or radicalizing them. That should be clear. And secondly, Jamaat al-Tabligh itself is criticized by the so-called extremists and terrorist groups. They hate Jamaat al-Tabligh, and they criticize Jamaat al-Tabligh for being non-violent and apolitical, and they accuse Jamaat al-Tabligh of taking people away from the so-called political fikr and from jihad. And in fact, one of the major criticisms of Jamaat Tabligh is that they have reinterpreted jihad in the path of Allah as not fighting with swords and spears, or in our day and age, with firearms, but that for them, going out in the path of Allah, this is a term that they frequently use. They say, let's go out and do jihad in the path of Allah. What they mean by that is, let's go out and preach Islam. Let's go out and travel and invite people to Islam, invite people who are Muslims already to reform themselves and to revive their faith. That for them, this is what is meant by jihad fi sabilillah. And it is correct. This is jihad fi sabilillah. Jihad fi sabilillah is not restricted to simply fighting with arms against the unbelievers. Jihad fi sabilillah is any kind of struggle in the path of Allah to make the religion of Allah supreme, and to spread iman, and to fortify iman. Any kind of effort, that is jihad fi sabilillah. So now that the Saudi government has banned Tablighi Jamaat, they have made the pretense, or a false reason, that this is a terrorist group. But the real reason is that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is modernizing extremely rapidly, liberalizing, and totally adopting cultural westernization, especially under this evil individual known as MBS, the so-called Crown Prince. I call him the Clown Prince. He is the one who is behind this tendency, and they view Jamaat Tabligh as a element within society that makes people more religious and takes people away from modernity. And so, for this is the main reason why they are against Jamaat Tabligh. Now, they may say, they'll use the pretense, they'll use the excuse, oh, Jamaat Tabligh, they are violent, which is untrue totally. Or they'll say Jamaat Tabligh, they are involved in bid'ah. And it is true, Jamaat Tabligh, they may have some things which, which can be classified as bid'ah, or as wrong ideas, wrong theological beliefs. Although those are very minor. Those are very minor deviations. Those are not major deviations. But again, this is the pretense. The real reason is not this is just the reason they put out to satisfy other Muslims who are blind to the fact that the real agenda of the Saudi government is to take Saudi Arabia away from Islam, and to modernize and liberalize it, culturally westernize it, so that it becomes eventually like any other European country. And this is the real agenda, and they're taking steps slowly. They're gonna this is their objective. And so they view Jamaat Tabligh as an element that needs to be eliminated from the scene. And so this is the real motivation behind the ban. So we should be aware of this. We should be aware of the nefarious agenda of the Saudi government. Until next time.